Hey guys, welcome to today's episode. And we have Amber Bodily, and she is going to be talking today all about detox, kidney detox, liver detox, gallbladder detox. And Amber, she is very unique because she is a master foot zonologist. If you've never heard of what a zonologist is, it's someone who does basically like foot reflexology on steroids. Is that right, Amber?
Yeah, that would be right.
Good. Well, tell listeners a little bit about yourself, Amber, and what got you into where you're at right now.
Okay. Without going into too long of a story, but a little snippet of it. I was a graphic designer for 17 years. That's what I loved to do. I thought I got paid to play. It was so fun, get to create things, worked in the Silicon Valley, helping companies do their entire branding. And I got married, want to have kids, had a hard time getting pregnant, couldn't get pregnant. Anyways, ended up having my first child, and he had a lot of health problems. And it was really frustrating because I wanted a child for so long. And I thought, okay, we're just camping out hospital, the doctor's office, specialist, the doctor's office. And long story short, he was diagnosed with autism, liver failure, lung disorder, severe psoriasis, eczema. And I just thought, okay, there was a period of time where my child is fine and now he's not. What happened? So I started going down this road after being completely exhausted in the medical field and started to just open up what else is out there. So I started to try different modalities, different health arenas, and came across foot zonology from my sister. And when I went to go visit her, because I, of course, was not doing too well with my own health, just because I was pacing the floors every night with the child, wondering if you're going to breathe or not, and doing this month after month and year after year, I thought, okay, I went to my sister's for a break. And when I was there, she said, hey, why don't you go see this voodoo lady who lives down the street? She like rubs your feet and tells you what's going on. And I was like, I'm all up for a foot rub.
Like, no, voodoo or not, I'm ready for a foot rub, right?
Give it to me. I need some self-care. So she said, no, she can look at, your son's feet and tell you what's going on with him. So I said, okay, sign me up. So I called the gal, but she was like 6-8 weeks out. And I'm like, what? And I was like, put me on your cancellation list. If anybody calls, just give me a 5-minute warning. I'll run up the street. She's like, okay. So we end up getting a call and couldn't go up there. So I took me and my son, but of course I was going to do this before my son did it so I can try it out. And to be honest, when I was sitting in the chair, within the first couple of minutes, she was telling me everything that's going on with my health. I've never met her before, but she was spot on with everything. Oh, you've had trouble getting pregnant, couldn't get pregnant, this, that. And she just starts nailing everything. But I'll be honest, it was like this really emotional experience. I just started to sob and she goes, it's okay. People sob in the chair. But I had this overwhelming feeling that I was in the right place at the right time. And there was something to this. So I had my treatment. It was absolutely amazing. She just recommended, food, lifestyle changes, chemicals, all this stuff in our environment. And she was about to zone my son's feet. And she looked at the bottom of his feet and she said, oh, he's highly allergic to dairy. He should not be having dairy. And I was like, what? I asked the doctors that, my mom even mentioned it because I was allergic to dairy as a child. So anyways, she's like, well, just take him off of it for 2 weeks and see how he does. I was like, that's a novel idea. Like, why didn't I just do that? But I was waiting for somebody to tell me what to do. So anyway, she ended up foot zoning him and she nailed it down to what even medications were in his system causing a problem, and she had never met us before, but she was like, I'm not allowed to legally diagnose, but if you might want to go get him checked out for autism. And I was like, well, he's already been diagnosed. He's on the spectrum. She's like, well, do this, that, and that, don't eat this, take these chemicals out, she started giving me a list of things and see what happens. He should be fine. I was like, what? Everything she said rang true. So I was like, I'm in. So I, for the first time, saw him as we left that place. We were walking down the road. He turned around and he made eye contact with me. Now, my son had not made eye contact with me in a good 7-8 months. So that to me, I was just like, whoa, wait a second here. So I'm like, I'm on board with this. So I called her back and I was like, any other appointments before I go home? I'm on it. So fast forward, I end up having such great results with this and making these massive changes within our lifestyle and diet and eating. I was flying back there to get him treated because, I was spending $100,000 in hospital bills and specialists and doctors, where if I flew back there and got him treated, I was seeing these huge improvements in his health. Fast forward, within 9 months of falling, an amazing protocol that she gave us. He was no longer autistic, no longer had liver failure. His psoriasis and eczema were completely gone. And I got pregnant. I still didn't ever be able to get pregnant on my own. So I get pregnant, child number 2. Well, we find out he has brain tumors and in utero when we did our ultrasound at 21 weeks, and they said, he's probably not going to make it. They're just multiplying. So fast forward, I do all the protocols that this foot zonologist recommended. By this time I was working with another foot zonologist in the area. And fast forward, anyways, we end up getting these tumors to shrink in utero. And when he was born, we opted not to do any of the treatments that they had suggested and just do it naturally. And it was that moment in time where I thought, I need to learn how to do this. I got to take care of my kids. I've got to take care of myself. Like I really need to empower myself with knowledge and tools to help take care of our health. So that's what put me on this journey. Then from there on, I just couldn't stop learning. So I went on to become a foot zonologist, and I took every certification you can imagine at the Institute: back zoning, hand zoning, body rejuvenation. I went on and learned all about nutrition. I got my master's in herbology. I did a master's in aromatherapy. Like I studied with a couple of different medicine mans. Like I just really wanted to pull in all information that we can about the human body and the foods and the tools and the resources that people use. So I was really fascinated. Eventually I end up just, selling my design firm and realizing that this is what I needed to be doing. And so when I started, people who just heard about my son or heard about other people I work with, they just started coming. And I was like, oh, maybe I should do a business. Maybe I should do that. So it was all just word of mouth that people would come. So now I treat people all over the world and with all different kinds of illnesses or, you name it, across the board.
Now, what state do you live in?
I live in California. I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay. Yeah. And because I had seen online where there was something, but it was like AFZPA or something. And it was like,
yes,
find your local
practitioner or something.
Practitioners. But it was like all the people were in like I was looking at the states because it didn't have any in Virginia. Mm-hmm. And it was like all the people were in Utah. I was like,
there's this
if
Utah,
you want to find
Idaho. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was funny. I was like, well, if you really want this, then go to Utah because that's where everyone is at. It seemed like anyway.
Yeah. So AFCPA.org is a national certification. I actually used to sit on the board, but a lot of people don't really know much about it. So they don't register with them. So we're trying to get the word out to get more people to register with them, just get more, just get your feelers out there. Let other practitioners know that you exist. So hopefully that will grow over the next couple of years.
Well, let's talk about the severe psoriasis and eczema. I have some psoriasis right here on my forehead, and on my scalp is the main places that it's at. And so I feel like I've tried everything, and I eat healthy. I do everything. What have you seen is the biggest thing? Like if you said, here's the 5 things I've seen that really helps with psoriasis, what would they be for you that you've seen in your patients?
Oh yeah. I've had people come with severe psoriasis and we've been able to get rid of it. So it's great. Okay. The number one thing that I'd like to go to is the liver. Okay. If the liver is not getting rid of the sludge, the muck, the dirt or whatever it is, and sometimes it's unwanted, unrecycled hormones. Like if we're living in a very stressful life, that's adrenaline. Adrenaline will just saturate the liver and the liver becomes dense instead of porous. And the body can't get rid of things. So a lot of times it will come out through the skin. So number one thing, I want to go to the liver and help the liver with its regular hormones and with the regular metabolic exchanges that it needs to perform in order to function properly. And we just help the liver take out the trash, because a lot of times the liver just quits taking out the trash. It's just, imagine, have you ever had a pool before? Grown up with a pool?
Yeah, pool? We actually did. I had a pool in almost every house I lived in when I was younger. And
awesome. So in a pool, you have to clean out the filters, right? Otherwise, if you don't clean out the filters, then the water just starts to turn mucky and icky, and then it'll start to turn green. You have to clean out those filters so the filters are nice and vibrant and can catch the dirt, the sludge, the bacteria, whatever it is, the leaves. And then you got to take those and clean those out. Well, what happens is when the liver gets stressed or too overburdened, that functioning of taking those filters out, cleaning them, washing them, and then putting them back, it doesn't do that anymore. So stuff starts building up. So when working with someone who has psoriasis eczema, I automatically ask them, one, what kind of foods are they eating? Because if they're eating a bunch of, soda and chemical laden foods and, very fried foods, heavy foods, it's going to be very challenging to help clean the liver. So you got to look at whole foods, healthy foods, fresh foods. Really quick ones, since we're on the food arena, foods that really help assist cleaning the livers and the filters in the liver, cranberries. Cranberries work amazing. Lingonberries. And sometimes it can be challenging to get, but you can get like lingonberry powder. Start throwing that in your smoothies or in your foods. Asparagus actually works amazing for cleaning out the liver. Juice it and drink it, or just eat it. That is super helpful. Also things like barley grass juice powder. That is amazing for cleaning out the liver. And if somebody's allergic to gluten or any of that, barley grass juice doesn't have any gluten in it. So really helpful to start adding that into the smoothies. I mean, we could talk about so many other different foods, but another
let's
food.
see what the lingonberry. The only thing I've heard of is, I think in Europe, don't they use a lot of like lingonberry jam?
Totally. Yeah. Sweden's. Yeah. Sweden's love lingonberry.
It's basically it's a berry, right?
It's a berry. Mm-hmm. And it looks like a cranberry, but a little bigger and a little more plump. It's not a common one here in the United States, but lingonberry is a very powerful berry. It alkalizes the body, cleans out all the toxins. It helps break up the sludge and the dirt and the tar-like substance that's in the liver. Then it just helps jumpstart it. Cranberries also help get rid of unwanted, unrecycled hormones that hang out in the liver. And so just kind of open up. A liver can be very dense when it's not functioning properly. You want to bring more light into the liver. You want to make it more porous. So instead of being like a brick, you want to be like a jellyfish. And cranberries, lingonberry, asparagus, it will do that to the liver. Also, some people...
I think there's a brand that I've seen before. It's called like Love or something like that. But they have like organic wild lingonberry powder.
Yes.
And you just add that into...
Add that into a smoothie.
Powder. And they have... you can get the cranberry powder or get the lingonberry powder. But would you say it's just better to just get just have cranberries or have the lingonberry spread instead?
I would say if you can do both, that would be great. In the United States, it's easy to pick up cranberries. Well, it's super easy during November to January 1st. You can get them anywhere.
Right.
The rest of the year, you've got to get them frozen in the frozen food section and throw them in a smoothie. If you want to make a spread for it, put it on your potatoes, great. Go for it. But then lingon powder, you can get them frozen and shipped to you, but they're really expensive. So I would say just get the powder and add it to your smoothie every day. It's very tart, like cranberries are, sour and tart. So I would maybe suggest start off with a teaspoon, but work yourself up to a tablespoon. That would be amazing. It helps purify the blood. And the liver filters the blood. Okay. If the blood is dirty, your skin's going to be dirty. Your thyroid's not going to be function right. Then it's like your hair is not going to be right. The pancreas is going to work right, because if you have unclean blood being pumped to every organ and gland in the body, that gland or organ is not going to function at its optimum. So really going in and cleaning up that liver so we can get cleaner blood to every area of the body, the skin, it's going to make a huge difference.
I love that. Okay.
And something else, one more other thing is celery juice. A lot of people are on the celery juice kick and doing celery juice, but that really helps purify the liver and bring life back into the liver. So that is very, very helpful.
Yeah. I'll add all those items into, if you go to my website, chantelrayway.com, I put things I love. I'll add that into my things I love and people can find it there.
Perfect. Another thing that it really is helpful. Like number one thing that I have everybody do when they have skin issues, psoriasis, eczema especially, is get them on methylfolate. Are you familiar with methylfolate?
No.
Methylfolate is the purest form of folic acid. Most women are familiar with folic acid because whenever you're pregnant, your doctor says, make sure you take folic acid. It's in your prenatal. Folic acid is an absolute must. We're going to say methylfolate because methylfolate is the purest form of folic acid. Methylfolate helps your liver take out the trash. It literally assists with the metabolic exchanges so it can clean the filters off and you can pee and poop stuff out, to be honest. Mm-hmm. So imagine like a billion dryer lint screens that are all full. And methylfolate goes in there and cleans that lint off so that now the liver can filter the blood a little bit better and then clean off those filters and take it out. So methylfolate. An average person, obviously it's great to work with a practitioner. They can see how much you need. But a blanket statement, I would say would be safe to say is if with methylfolate, if you start off with 2.5 milligrams and you take one in the morning, one at night. Now with each person, we might need to up it to 5 milligrams morning and night. And then over time, go 10 milligrams morning or night, depending on what their liver is functioning at. And depending on what their body needs. But this is a must. It's almost impossible to get that liver clean without methylfolate. So that's a huge one to get. And if someone has really severe psoriasis and eczema, after they're on methylfolate for about a month, I bring in P5P. P5P is a glorious, acronym for vitamin B6. And vitamin B6 really helps with the liver's relationship to the skin. So getting on P5P can sometimes it's within a week. Someone just totally clears their eczema and psoriasis. It's amazing. And other people, depending on how clogged their liver is, how stressful their situation is, what they're being exposed to, it might take 2 to 4 months. And during this time, I would like to say it's staying really hydrated. And the liver gets too dehydrated. It doesn't function very well. It's like a car that's overheating. So yes, water, but what about lemon water or lime water? What about juicing just straight cucumber? Straight cucumber will throw your liver out of a dizzy real quick. Just peel the cucumber, juice it. It really cools down the liver and hydrates your body on a cellular level and cleans up the lymphatic system around the liver, which is huge because if that lymph is clogged around the liver, it's very challenging for that liver to work appropriately. But like coconut water, I have a recipe on my website for parsley water, which I love to make with my kids. It's super easy, but it's just parsley, lemon, and honey. Really hydrates down to a cellular level. Because if you've noticed, some people drink water, they're like, I drink water all the time, but I'm thirsty. We'll go right through them. You've got to bring in some electrolytes into the water. So drinking water, but just squeezing a lemon or a lime in it is huge. Your body, all of a sudden, those cells will open up and absorb the water into the cells. So think about that simple act of just having more hydrating water. Sounds a little funny, water does hydrate, but more, but getting water, which has a little bit of electrolytes and some minerals in it, makes a massive difference in hydrating your body. So that's huge.
So, what's funny is I have this amazing juicer that I put it on my site too, but it's the best juicer. And so I was like kind of getting every time I'd have water, I would take fresh basil. I would take scissors and just chop it up. And then I would take my juicer that's on my site and I would just do like half of an orange and half of a lime. But I was kind of doing that all the time. And I mean, it's delicious. Or I would take half of a grapefruit.
Yeah.
What I was realizing is my psoriasis was getting worse. And I was like, what's going on? Like I'm eating healthier than, I'm not eating any junk. What's going on? And so a friend of mine had said, sometimes citrus makes psoriasis worse. And so I was like, oh my gosh, because that's the only thing I could think of that I was doing different. And here my psoriasis was going nutso.
Yeah.
And so I think that sometimes for some reason, citrus fruits, lemon, lime, grapefruit, and orange can flare up psoriasis. What would be the reason behind that? Like what would
I'm so glad you asked that question because some people think that like, wait, I had a grapefruit and now my skin's itching more or now it's more red or inflamed. So those foods, citruses, will detox the liver. But if your liver is not taking out the trash appropriately, it just stirs things up. So this is, if you really want that citrus in your diet, or you're finding out that is affecting your skin when you do have citrus, you absolutely must bring in methylfolate.
Okay.
Because the grapefruit is literally, it's going to pull the muck, the tar-like stuff that's in the liver. It's going to pull it out. But if your liver cannot take out the trash, then it just stirs things up. So this is really important to get on methylfolate if you are reacting to citrus.
One of the things I've realized is that there's so many chemicals in laundry detergent and the soaps out there. So I either make it myself, it's actually pretty easy, or I use my green fills. If you go to chantelrayway.com/soap, I'll give you my free recipe for laundry soap. Or if you just feel like buying one that's really clean and not filled with tons of chemicals, you can get it there, chantelrayway.com/soap. Hey guys, I'm on my way home from being on national TV talking about intermittent fasting, and I'm answering the question, does intermittent fasting help you lose weight? Maybe you guys have tried intermittent fasting and lost some weight, but now you might just be stuck in a rut where you're not losing as much as you want. Well, I've interviewed over 1,000 thin eaters, and I've learned that intermittent fasting is just one of the tools they use. But there's so many more. There's 9 other principles that they use to stay thin. To get out of your rut, click here to watch this free video. Yeah, the things, there's one other thing that I tried to do that really broke my skin out was I took milk thistle because I was like, okay, you know, they probably the number one thing, right? That you would hear someone say that's good for your liver is milk thistle. So I think I might have either taken too much, but I had taken it and I literally broke out into like hives in my entire body when I took it. So that means that there has to be something really going on in my liver.
Absolutely, that, hands down.
You know, is not functioning properly for that to be happening.
Absolutely. And that's a wonderful way to look at it, going, okay, this is something supposed to be really healthy. It's
and I don't drink, by the way. Like I drink once or twice a year. If that, I'm just not a drinker. I never have been.
Yeah. So then that's a great way to be like, okay, what imbalances are going on my liver for my body to react this way when I have something that's supposed to be really healthy? And sometimes if it is really out of whack, you know, or out of balance, start off really small. But again, the liver has to be able to take out the trash. Okay. So it's like you're trying to clean up a room, but you never, you know, you pull everything off the shelves, you vacuum, but you're never taking the trash out. So it just gets restockpiled and then things can get recirculated back into the house again. So you really want to make sure that the liver is taking out the trash, that your liver, those filters are clean. So what I would recommend is get on methylfolate for about a month and then bring in a little bit of citrus and see what happens.
Mm-hmm. A little bit. And then the second thing that you said after you do the methylfolate for 1 month was, say that one more time.
P5P. It's known as P5P, but it's also vitamin B6. And you want to make sure you get a good brand. A good brand that I use for P5P is Pure Encapsulation. Mm-hmm. They're a great one, very well known. Most people can get it. Most chiropractor's office or doctor's office or Amazon will have it. It's pretty easy to find, but that one's a really good one. And you can just start off taking one a day. And then if you're going, okay, I'm not noticing too much of a difference, then take one twice a day. And I've had clients have to go to 4 twice a day, depending on the severity of their skin and what's going on with the liver. So you can kind of play with it. Again, it's a vitamin, so it's not like you're going to have any major side effects from it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So those two are really key when you're working with the liver, because you have to be able to empty the stuff out that's not serving you. Otherwise it'll get stirred up again.
I love it. So let's talk about the gallbladder now. We've kind of talked about the liver. How do you know? Well, first with the liver, like, how do you know, okay, is it my liver? Is it my gallbladder? Is it my kidneys? Like, what is kind of stuck? Like, where have I not taken the trash out? Right.
Yeah.
What would be the symptoms of each? So people listening can go, okay, yep, my liver is a problem, or yep, my gallbladder is a problem. Can you give some ideas?
Now the liver and gallbladder, really go together and hand in hand. They work together. So usually if there's a problem with the gallbladder, there's most likely a problem with the liver. If there's a problem with the liver, your gallbladder is probably overworked and underpaid. So those two pretty much go together. Some symptoms, or there's hundreds of them, but some main ones would be like you're constantly breaking out for no rhyme or reason. You got to look at gallbladder and liver. You've got chronic headaches or random headaches that come on, or migraines. A liver is a really good place to look. You have the rubber tire. No matter how healthy you eat, all the amazing things you're doing, you got that rubber tire, you got the muffin tops, those love handles, they're never going away. This is your liver holding on to everything. Okay. And so you need to address liver. If you're having any twinging or discomfort where the liver is, which is under that right bottom rib or under that right bottom rib in the back, if there's any pain, discomfort, achiness, or when you eat, you feel kind of twinge or bubbly in there, you definitely got a problem with the liver. If you're having a really hard time digesting your food, you just feel bloated, you feel icky, you've absolutely got to look at the liver. If you're having a hard time digesting fats, the liver. If you're having chronic shoulder pain, neck pain, that's always tight, you got to look at the liver. And of course, if you're having skin issues, acne, things of that sort, you got to look at the liver for sure. Mm. And when someone has a liver problem, the liver is a main player on digesting fats. So if you're wanting to give the liver a break, pull fats out of the diet. Now there's some amazing fats, we've got avocado, coconut oil. There's some wonderful fats that we need in our diet. But when you are trying to heal the liver, it's a great idea to cut back on the fats or even cut them out for a certain period of time, just to give your liver a break. Because the liver, it works so hard to digest fats. Pull out the oils or different things. Now, there's definitely the bad oils and bad fats that you never want to take in, to your body and your diet. But those you want to be like, okay, I'm going to give my liver a break. We're going to cut these out for a week or 2 weeks or a month or something of that sort. It really brings on a lot of relief to the liver.
That's great.
Now, going to the kidneys, if you're having chronic back pain, absolutely look at the kidneys. Okay. If you're having stiffness in the back, or you just feel this achiness in the back, you got to look at the kidneys. If you're chronically feeling dehydrated, no matter what you do, you've got to look at the kidneys. If you're feeling fatigued on a regular basis, like you sleep 8 to 10 hours, you're still exhausted, you can't pull yourself off the sheets in the morning, you've got to look at the kidneys. Those are just a couple simple ones. If you're getting edema really bad in the legs or feet, or just notice that your feet are more swollen, you've got to look at the kidneys. Sometimes people say, oh, well, that's only when I fly, my feet swell up. But if your body is under a small amount of stress, like cabin pressure, and your feet swell, that's obviously a sign that your kidneys aren't working at their best. So yes, it might only happen on a plane, but if you try working on your kidneys right now, it's going to be much easier instead of one day you wake up and you've got, elephant feet and you're like, oh no, these are little signs that your body is telling you like, hey, pick me. Hey, we need a little help with the kidneys. So that could be really helpful. Really quickly, something that I've noticed people come out of some serious kidney problems is parsley. If you can drink, eat, juice parsley, this will turn your kidneys around very quickly. And again, I have a great recipe for parsley water on my website at amberbodyhealth.com. Super easy to make, maybe a minute, maybe 2 minutes, that's it. It's extremely helpful to just open up the kidneys, hydrate the kidneys, gently clean the kidneys, and bring vitality to the kidneys. Now, it's interesting that you talked about, you brought up the liver and the kidneys. Both of these are blood organs. So usually when the liver is not functioning well, it'll ask the kidneys to take over. And the kidneys are very delicate. As we know, like when people have kidney problems, it can get serious really quick. They got to go on dialysis, serious problems. Kidneys are very delicate. We have to take care of them. When the kidneys are in stress for whatever, it'll ask the liver to help out. You got to do more work with the blood. You got to filter the blood more. So they really work together. So a lot of times if you're having a problem with one or both of those, and again, I'm going to put the gallbladder and liver together, you really have to look at your blood, like what's going on with the blood. Is it the liver is not being able to filter the blood, or the liver cannot filter the blood fast enough because of how much toxicity we're being exposed to? Because some people say, well, I'm doing all that and I'm still having these problems. And you have to look at What am I eating that's not right for my body? What chemicals am I being exposed to? What kind of stress do I have? What's my environment like? What are my relationships like? Because if you're doing all these wonderful things and you're still having issues, you've got to evaluate things, because our health is not just physical, it's mental, emotional, and etherical. So that's where some people come and say, well, I'm doing all that. I'm doing all these good things. What, how come I'm not healing, or why am I not seeing any results? And we've got to take a step back and look at the big picture.
Mm. Now, I know I saw your parsley recipe online and it looks amazing. And I know one of the things that you had said, I think you were talking about how important it is to make sure you're having raw organic honey.
Mm-hmm.
That means it's not been filtered, strained, or heated above 115 degrees. Can you talk a little bit more about that? And you have some other recipes that you recommend that have that raw organic honey? Because that's the thing is, like, if you can make your own things, like if you have a sweet tooth and you want some honey, because raw organic honey is just so good for you.
It is so good. So the reason why I recommend the raw is because there's so many enzymes. These enzymes are going to help with metabolic exchanges in your body. They're going to help your immune system. They're going to help with digestion. They're going to help fight off viruses and bacteria. So this is why I recommend raw. And usually when it's raw, unfiltered, they're definitely saying, I didn't add any canola oil to it, or didn't add any corn syrup to it, because a lot of different honey companies, they'll add corn syrup or canola oil to it to make it go farther and, and to thin it out a little bit. So you might think like, oh, I'm getting honey, it's so good for me. But yet there's some other things in there. And the way the United States is and labeling stuff, if it's under a certain percentage, they don't have to put it on the package. And I learned that the hard way with my kids when they were allergic to certain things. All of a sudden they would break out and I'm looking at the package going, it's not on there. And I called a company and they're like, oh, wow, we do dust it with red food dye to make it look good. And so it stays nice and neat on the shelf. But because it's under a certain percentage, you're like, oh my gosh, no wonder my child is having problems. So looking at the honey and saying, it's getting raw, unfiltered, this is what you want to be medicinal. Okay. Now, if you can't find it, or you go to your farmer's market, one thing to just ask, do you mix anything with your honey? Because sometimes to have certain labels on honey, it costs a lot of money. So if you're going to the farmer's market, ask directly, ask the farmer directly, exactly what's in it and let them tell you. But the reason, also going back to the raw unfiltered honey, is honey has over 200,000 phytochemicals in it. 200,000 phytochemicals. This is a game changer for your health. Like, this supports the lymphatic system. It supports your immune system. It's huge on fighting off viruses and bacteria. So when you're wanting to keep your immune system up, or you're dealing with any underlying bad bacteria that's floating around in your blood or hanging out in your kidneys, honey is going to be that go-to and assist your body. A lot of us have bacteria that's hanging out in our kidneys. When we were young, we got a bacterial infection of some kind, or a virus. Your kidneys filter that. And sometimes they will just stay there in the kidneys. But because it's under the surface and they're not full-blown active viruses or bacteria, you won't recognize that you have a bacterial infection in the kidneys or a viral infection in the kidneys. But because it's just under the surface and not creating that big of a deal, your immune system is constantly fighting it and keeping it at bay for you. And this can also be draining you. And these little viruses get stuck in these filters in the kidneys because, one, it's doing its job. It is supposed to filter those out. And they can just be stuck in there. So this honey is going to go in there and fight these bacteria and flush them out. A lot of us, we've had bladder infections, or some of us are prone to them. They say, it's in my DNA. I get bladder infections all the time, whatever. This is when bacteria is just stuck on the lining of the bladder. You've got to pull that out. There's many things that can help do that, but honey is one of them. So this is why I recommend honey. Now, some people are like, I'm never going to do honey. I'm not going to do it for whatever reasons. And you bring in some maple syrup. But of course, it's not Aunt Jemima's maple syrup. It's your good old, nice, healthy maple syrup straight from the tree. You can do that as a sweetener as well.
Okay, so let me recap. So for your liver, you said the foods that are really good, cranberries, lingonberries, asparagus are great for the liver.
Mm-hmm.
As far as supplements, the methylfolate, the P5P is really good for that. Any other foods that you can think of or supplements for the liver that were good?
Yes, barley grass juice powder is amazing, which we did mention. That is really good. Wild blueberries. Now there's blueberries, organic blueberries. Those are great. Those are nutritious. But wild blueberries, those are medicinal. Those are the small little blueberries that are blue all the way through. And they're absolutely amazing. So you can add them on top of your oatmeal or cereal, or make them and do a smoothie. There's also wild blueberry powder. You can bring that in. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. So an apple brings life to the liver. So an organic, yummy apple has some red on it would be amazing to bring in for the liver. Now, a lot of people think apples, they eat them all the time, but you actually get down and tally how many apples you've had this week. Most people be like one. Somehow, because they see apples a lot, it's a common fruit, they think they're eating them. But I would challenge everybody to say, like, hey, can you have an apple a day this week? And some people are like, oh my gosh, that's too many apples. When you actually start doing it, if you really want to kick it into gear and heal your liver, 3 apples a day, which is absolutely amazing. So it seems like a simple food, but it is so powerful, and anybody can get apples.
Now, like if you get some organic barley grass juice powder, are you just throwing that into your smoothie? Is that kind of what you're doing with it?
Yeah, throw it into a smoothie, or if I'm on the run, I'll get some fresh pressed organic orange juice and just stir it up in the orange juice and drink it to just kind of really go in there. It nurtures the liver. It helps heal the liver. It helps clean the liver. It helps hydrate the liver because of the minerals in there. It does so many things for the liver. Some people just start drinking and be like, oh my gosh, I feel like I can clean my house till 3 a.m. Oh my gosh, I have so much energy. So just bringing in that simple thing could be so powerful.
I love that. Now, I know that you were talking about obviously how great it is for someone to have lemons and limes, like citrus fruits. You talked about, they hydrate the body on a deep cellular level. They provide the body with electrolytes and mineral and trace minerals and salts and stuff like that. So I think that, so like for someone like me who I have psoriasis, and it seems like when I have those, would you suggest keep having the lemons, limes, and just adding the methylfolate and P5P and see if between the combination of that and start eating the apples and the wild berries, but continue to still have the oranges? Because I like right now, I mean, obviously I'm drinking plain water, but I do love to have my orange. So would you just say continue to go that route and take it?
Yes, everyone is a little different. So that being said, if it doesn't flare up your skin too much where it impedes your work and focus and concentration, I would say keep it in. If it's irritating you, you can't sleep, or you're just feeling like, you can't focus at work, take it out. Just take it out. Don't let it disrupt you. You don't want to just, be stressed about it all the time. So no, but if you can just keep in a little bit, maybe you're just like, I'm going to just do a quarter of a wedge of a lemon and squeeze a little bit in my water. I'm going to drink that in, a 24 ounce, jar. Great. Go there. If it is disrupting you, keep it out, bring in methylfolate, okay, and take that for a couple of weeks or 2 months, and then slowly bring in the citrus. So you kind of have to measure how disrupted it is for you. But in the meantime, you can also bring your water into a living water state, or make your water living by chopping up some basil, like what you said, chopping your basil, put it in there, because that also has the essence of some minerals. You can chop up some cucumber slices, put that in there. Maybe you can chop up a couple cranberries, put that in the water, because you're still bringing some living salts to it, some minerals, some electrolytes, maybe not as powerful and as cleansing as the citrus, but you're still bringing that in so that your body will absorb the water better. So, or some people put a sprig of rosemary in their water, or you can, again, just put a sprig of parsley in your water, just so it brings that essence of something living in the water. Your body is going to absorb the water better.
Hey guys, I want to tell you about a great product that you absolutely cannot live without, and it's called Digest Aid. When you're stressed, you might not be able to produce as much stomach acid. And if you're eating a little more right now and you're stressed, you need help to digest your food. My Digest Aid that I created has enzymes that are capable of doing just that. It has both betaine HCl, not just HCl, but an enzyme pepsin that helps your body digest your food, which is really unique. And right now, all of our products are 30% off. Go to chantelrayway.com, click on store, and get yours for 30% off. Just use the promo code podcast. I don't know about you guys, but I've been doing a ton of cooking lately, and I've been having so many new recipes. Go to chantelrayway.com/free recipes to get the best kale dressing recipe you'll ever have, the dairy-free artichoke dip that you will love for completely free. I also want to give you my entire free smoothie book that has the best smoothies. One of the things that can help you lose weight is just to replace one of your meals with an amazing smoothie. So if you're eating 2 meals, just make one of them a smoothie. You can get my free amazing recipe book at chantelrayway.com/free recipe. And our protein shakes are amazing as well. And right now they're 30% off. Go to chantelrayway.com, click on store, and use podcast for the 30% off your protein shake. So now if someone's having a lot of juice and a lot of citrus fruits, because they are acidic, right? And we know when the body is acidic, it invites viruses and bacteria to grow. But so as far as having that citrus fruits, that's not really making your body acidic, or is it?
No, it does not. The beautiful thing about the citrus family, it's acidic before we eat it, but when we bring it into the body, because of all the minerals, because of all the electrolytes, it alkalizes the body. It alkalizes the blood. It alkalizes the liver, alkalizes the kidneys. So it's like when somebody's having kidney stone, they're like, make sure you squeeze 1 whole lemon in water and then drink it, because it will start breaking up those stones by alkalizing the blood.
I love it.
The body doesn't treat it as something acidic.
So anything else for the kidney, and then we'll move on to the gallbladder.
Yeah, the kidneys, there is, like, if someone knows that they have kidney issues, I used to make my own herbal combinations, and it was just time consuming with the demands of work. So there is a product, and it's from Dr. Christopher with the CH, and it's called Kidney Formula. It's got some herbs in there that gently cleanse and nourish the kidneys, and it's fabulous. I would recommend that to anybody if you think you have kidney problems, or let's say once a year, you're getting to your 40s and 50s and 60s, or even in your late 30s, and you're like, I just want to make sure my kidneys are functioning well, because the kidneys really, like in Chinese medicine, that brings in your qi, like that brings your life force. So you want to make sure those kidneys are functioning at their optimum. So I would definitely take Dr. Christopher's Kidney Formula and just take the recommended dose on the bottle. Maybe take it for 2 or 3 months, maybe take it for a month, once a year, to just make sure you tone those kidneys. Now, with the other things with kidneys, cilantro can be really good for the kidneys. We mentioned parsley, but root vegetables in general, because they carry the minerals from the earth, and they will also tone the kidneys. So celery root, or you have regular potatoes, you have rutabaga, you have parsnips, you have jicama. Those things are really healing, nurturing to the kidneys, and very easy to get in your diet.
One thing that I used to make that was really good that I need to go back to doing is I would take just fresh frozen cranberries, and then I would take raw organic honey, and with like alkaline water, and I take my Berkey water machine, and just those 3 ingredients, and that's it. Or you can add some fresh mint or fresh basil into it. And then you just take it and put it into the Vitamix and just mix it up. And that's the only ingredients. It's just, you take you can do mint, cranberry, and just a little bit of honey. Because I remember when I was younger, I used to love cranberry juice. I used to drink Ocean Spray cranberry juice. And then I realized once I started getting my health together, I was like, oh my gosh, this is nothing but sugar. But literally making your own fresh cranberry juice with fresh organic fruit. You just buy a bag of fresh organic, and no one's ever talked about that,
And it's so simple. And so pure and so whole. So many people are used to like, well, I've got to buy something, but there's so many things you can make that are right at your fingertips, super simple, but so healing. So healing. Cranberries are amazing for the kidneys. Absolutely. I mean, you think like, oh, you had kidney infection, drink cranberries. Got a bladder infection, drink cranberries, eat cranberries. absolutely amazing because, again, it's going to help heal the blood. It's going to bring more vitality to the blood, which is going to help get your body healthy really quickly. Yes, I love that recipe. Love that idea.
Yeah, it's so good. I'll put it on my site, like the
Yes,
exact
do.
amount. It gives you not too much sweet, but it's like perfect. I'll put that recipe up.
And I'm sure you can do a little more honey if you want it more sweet, or a little less
Mm-hmm.
honey if you want it more tart. Yeah.
Yeah, like an organic herb. Okay, so now let's talk about the gallbladder. And so what are some issues that you see when people have gallbladder issues? Remind us one more time.
Okay, so when it's specifically the gallbladder, and the gallbladder and liver can overlap with the symptoms, but when it's gallbladder, it's pain or discomfort when they eat on the right side of their belly, like right where the lower rib, comes in on that right side. They're going to have discomfort or pain or little twinges, or if there's massive bits of bloating. Okay. Whenever they eat or they're not eating, they're like, I haven't eaten for 4 or 5 hours, but I'm still bloated. This can be that your body is your gallbladder is not producing the things it needs to help digest the food. Also, with the gallbladder, though, you can have pain in the back right underneath the last rib on your right side. Like there's always this pain or this discomfort. And you're like, did I pull muscle? Is it, I'm just getting old? What's going on? And it can come and go with no rhyme or reason. This is a sign that the gallbladder is quite stressed. The gallbladder issues also can show up in the shoulder, okay, where that shoulder and neck just get tight. They never relax. It's just, sometimes it'll feel like a claw has you, or you just always wake up feeling like you have a stiff neck. That can be a problem. And that's when you're going, okay, something's going on with my gallbladder. So with the gallbladder, you just want to make sure, for sure with the gallbladder, to cut out the fats, because that's the majority of where the fats are digested. The gallbladder is definitely in play. Cut out fats and bring more roughage into your diet, more raw foods, because you got to break up the sludge and the tar and those gallstones that might be sitting there. So, whether it's raw cabbage, salads, carrots, raw berries, anything. You want to bring in more raw to help loosen with that roughage and that food, the fibers. It's going to break things up in the gallbladder for sure.
I love it.
But cut out the oils and fats.
I love your website, by the way. It's great. And you've got some different recipes on there. If you had to tell people, like, these are my top 3 favorite, like, go to my site and check out these 3 of my favorite recipes. These are my best ones. What would you say they are?
Okay. I would definitely say I have a blog post on there about the top 5 supplements that anyone and everybody should be taking and why. So that's a really good one. I would say the blog post is called Kidney Detox, but it talks about parsley and parsley water. And then the other one that I would recommend is I have a blog post on sleep and how to incorporate the best sleep and what sleep does for the body. Because so many of us are trying with food and we're trying with our environment and chemicals to help heal our body. That is great. That is wonderful. But a lot of us are not getting proper sleep. And so when we're trying to ask our body to heal, it needs a lot of energy. And if it's not being able to restore and rebalance in the night, we're going to have a problem. So definitely looking at sleep and analyzing your own sleep. Am I getting in? Wait, am I waking up feeling tired? After sleeping 4 or 5 hours, what's going on with my body? What are some things I could do to make sure I get into a deeper sleep? What are some tools? What are some foods or supplements? So I definitely would recommend that one.
I saw that you had on there, you had this vegan cranberry apple muffins. Are those to die for? Or are they good?
They are so good. My boys love them. So I've got 3 boys, absolutely love them. And my oldest one, who's 13 now, the one I told you is diagnosed with all those things, and it set me on this journey. He makes them and he loves them. His friends love them. He lives at the skate park. So all his skate buddies are like, hey, did you bring muffins today? We want the muffins. So that one's a really good one. I have a lot of different muffin recipes because I feel like muffins are quick and easy and on the go. You can easily, and you can freeze them. So then let's say you're taking a trip or life is going to be stressful. You can just pull the muffins out of the freezer the night before and they're ready to go in the morning.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, this has been so much fun. I've really enjoyed my time with you today. Tell listeners a little bit about where they can find you and where they can follow you.
All right. Definitely visit my website. It's amberbodyhealth.com. And Bodily is just the way it sounds, like bodily fluid, bodily functions, amberbodyhealth.com. Got a lot of information there, a lot of different blog posts, information. You can learn more about foot zoning there as well. But definitely visit me on Facebook or Instagram, and it's just Amber Bodily Health. Also on my website, I've got a lot of different courses that people can sign up all across the gamut on health. You know, the Goddess Glow course, it's great for skin. I have a radical healing course if you have some serious diagnoses or you've got some serious health. You're in a situation where you really need some help with your health. The radical healing course is amazing, but I got so many other different courses up there that you can enroll in online and go at your own pace. So that is definitely helpful for people wanting some guidance on where to start and where to go.
You know, before I let you go, I want to talk to you about, I have a friend of mine who has a son who is just amazing. He's just this wonderful son, but his acne is pretty bad. I mean, he really tried everything.
Mm-hmm.
And they finally made the decision. I mean, they went and got this done and that done. And finally they took, he's taking Accutane because he just got so frustrated because his face was, you know, it was like red and pussing.
It gets boils. Yeah.
Getting boils on it. I mean, it was just embarrassing. And, you know, so I understood. So he finally said, have you seen any severe cases like that where you've been able to take someone off of Accutane and really do it 100% naturally?
Yes, I have done that. Those that are successful with it are those that persevere. Because with the skin, when someone starts getting acne, you got to go, what is living in the lymphatic system? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And what is the condition of the liver? And depending on how severe it is, and with the skin, it's such an emotional and mental thing because that's what people see you. That's what they mark you by.
Right.
Like,
it's like for
face.
me, like, you know, with my forehead, it is very embarrassing. I mean, I put foundation over it, but you never know if it's going to be good or bad day, you know?
Right. Exactly. It's just like, okay, what's today going to bring? So it can be very challenging and people lose their patience really quickly. I don't blame them. They're like, I can't do this. But if someone like your friend's son who is on Accutane, my question to them is, okay, what is the root cause of the acne? And acne is absolutely so strong. They even test your liver enzymes to make sure it's not destroying your liver when you are on it. You know, they say don't get pregnant if you are on it because it causes, you know, birth defects. So it's definitely harsh. So the question is, why being on that medication, what are we still not addressing? Because the question is, they can be on Accutane forever. Some people can only be on it for a couple months before it starts burning the liver. You know, one of my cousins, she was on it for a year, and then she gets off of it, and 6 months later, she has to get on it again. You know, she did this 4 different times. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, what is the root cause? So while he's on Accutane, I would still take precautions on taking care of the liver, taking care of the lymphatic system so that you do get down to the root cause of the problem. And let's say the Accutane takes care of it, but now all of a sudden they turn 42 and then boom, they've got acne again. Or maybe the medication is so strong, it stops the acne coming up in the face, but what else is going on in the body that we're not addressing that will cause a problem down the road? So I've taken people where they're just about to get on Accutane and then they don't. They decide like, I want to get rid of the root cause of the problem. I've had people come to me that are on Accutane and then we clean up their system so they can slowly wean themselves off the Accutane. So I've worked with people in different situations. But the whole thing is being patient. The body wasn't made in a day and necessarily doesn't heal in a day. Now, miracles happen. I am someone who absolutely believes in miracles and I've seen it happen too many times, but we have to be patient with our body. We have to be patient with the body, and dealing with the face and acne is one of those where people throw in the towel really quickly because they're not seeing the results they want right off the bat.
So for that, would you say when you see people who have that sort of acne that's really severe, is it mostly, would you say it's the liver? It's not getting rid of the muck and it has unrecycled things that it can't get rid of?
Yes, absolutely. The liver, but then you also, with cystic acne, yes, it's the liver. You'll never be able to get rid of the cystic acne if you don't help the liver, but you've got to look at the bacteria that's in the lymph nodes. And the bacteria builds up in the lymph nodes because the liver which is a main play on your immune system as well, can't get rid of it. It just filters back into the system and it gets stuck in the lymph nodes. Okay. And then the body
should be
can
doing like getting in this dry sauna and
yes.
dry brushing and that sort of thing would be helpful as well. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Getting on a trampoline. I have a blog post on the lymph, how to get the lymphatic system moving. And I give, quite a few activities of things to do. Absolutely helpful. And you got to start eating a lot of foods that are antibacterial. And some people do well with some antibacterial foods and some not, but some simple ones are like garlic, onion. You want to bring in ginger and turmeric. These kind of foods are very helpful to clearing the strep out of the body, the bacteria out of the body, and also high amounts of vitamin C and zinc.
Which is both of those are hard to get right now.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
It's like, oh my gosh, sold out everywhere, right?
Absolutely. I mean, there was a time on Amazon for like 2 weeks, you couldn't get any ester C or vitamin C. It was like gone. Because even the people that it wasn't on the radar before, all of a sudden with COVID, it's like, oh my gosh, I got to get vitamin C. So It went quick. Mm-hmm.
Well, this has been awesome. Thank you again for your time. This has been great. Thank you so much. And you guys stay tuned. We have another episode coming up in just a minute. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you.